when he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers. And I knew at that time that, he needed somebody to do time with him.
Prior to going into Rikers, Tupac already had a girlfriend named Keisha. He proposed to Keisha, her words, in a September 2011 interview. He proposed to Keisha before he even went into prison. They were already engaged.
Jada Pinkett Smith just got exposed with receipts that she lied in a recent interview when she claimed that Tupac proposed to her while he was in jail. Well, the math wasn't matching, and fans were quick to find evidence that Jada made up this whole story. But that's not all. Jada also claimed in another interview that Tupac had Alifa just like her. However, Tupac never wanted to talk about this publicly, and yet Jada now decided to speak for him. Meanwhile, Tupac's friends revealed that Pax never liked Jada as much as she claims, especially in his final years. So why is Jada so desperate to convince everyone Tupac was obsessed with her? And what else did she reveal about Pace in her new book?
When he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers.
So you're telling me that in the 3 to 4 week window that he was at Rikers, engaged to another woman who had moved closer to the prison and was there almost every day, Tupac proposed to Jada.
So with everything that's going on in the world right now, Jada Pinkett Smith thinks the most important thing we need to hear about is her toxic relationship with Will Smith and her non-existent relationship with the late Tupac Shakur. In case you missed it, Jada's new memoir, Worthy, is coming out, and she's currently doing a promo tour for the book, which can only be described as watching a train wreck in slow motion. First, Jada dropped a bombshell in an interview with Hoda Kotb and revealed that he and Will had been separated for 7 years now. By this point, nothing can shock us anymore about Jada and Will's bizarre relationship. So that's not even the main reason fans are dragging Jada. What got fans really riled up is not Jada talking about Will, it's the fact that she's still bringing up Tupac and making wild claims about him when he's not even here to share his side of the story. So you probably know how Jada has been obsessing over Tupac for years, and she never missed a chance to remind everyone Tupac was her friend. However, Jada always insisted that her relationship with Peace wasn't romantic and they were more like brother and sister. In fact, just last year, she told Howard Stern that early on in her friendship with Pash, she suggested they should kiss to see if there was some chemistry there. However, she described the kiss as disgusting and said they both realized they were meant to be friends and nothing more. But get this, during her recent appearance on All the Smoke podcast, Jada claimed that Tupac proposed to her while he was in jail. However, there are a few issues with this, and fans have now pulled out the receipts to prove that the proposal either happened in Jada's head or that she totally exaggerated it. So during her appearance on All the Smoke podcast, Jada talked about it. Her new memoir and her relationship with Tupac. The episode is set to air on October 19. However, a teaser clip was released a few days ago showing Jada claiming that Tupac proposed to her while he was imprisoned at Rikers Island.
So when he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers. And I knew at that time that, he needed somebody to do time with him, which I was gonna do anyway. You didn't have to marry me to do time. Right? I'm here.
Now you see why we love you.
And then he needed a rock. He needed, because of our friendship and because of everything we had been through together, he just wanted to feel that solidified foundation.
But let's look at the facts here. Tupac started serving his prison sentence at the Bellevue Hospital prison ward in January 1995, before moving to Rikers Island on February 14th, and then on March 8, 1995, Tupac was transferred to Clinton Correctional Facility, a maximum security state prison located in the village of Donora, New York. So this means that Tupac spent a total of 3 weeks at Rikers. Now, Jada specifically said in her interview that she visited Tupac at Rikers.
Go to see him in Rikers, probably one of the more painful parts, seeing him there, the condition that he was in, and having to leave him there.
But as one TikTok user pointed out, when Tupac went to Rikers, he was already engaged to his girlfriend Keisha Moraes. So prior to going into Rikers, Tupac already had a girlfriend named Keisha. He proposed to Keisha, her words, in a September 2011 interview. He proposed to Keisha before he even went into prison. They were already engaged. On April 29, the 1995 Tupac married Keisha at Clinton Correctional Facility, and the civil ceremony was witnessed by Keisha's mother, and Tupac's cousin in October 2000. Hay told The Source magazine that once Tupac was placed in the Clinton Correctional Facility, he asked her to handle all of his business with his lawyers, managers, and record company, because he wanted her to represent him now. It's no secret that Tupac was a womanizer. In fact, Keisha herself admitted that Tupac once asked her to join on a phone call with him and a famous actress while he was in prison. We can assume Keisha is talking about Jada, and yet Jada never ever mentions Keisha or any other women who were in Tupac's life, and it's like she's trying to insinuate that she was the only one who was there for him after Tupac got out of prison. His marriage to Keisha was annulled, and he started dating Quincy Jones' daughter, Kagid Jones. Tupac proposed to Kagid, and they got a home together in Calabasas, California, where they lived for 4 months before Tupac was murdered in Las Vegas in September 1996. By this point, Tupac had already cut all contact with Jada, and they didn't speak for a whole year prior to his death. And yet the way Jada keeps talking about Tupac, you'd think she was the one and only woman in his life. In fact, according to TK Kirkland, who was locked up with Tupac at one point, didn't even like Jada that much after she turned all Hollywood. TK also suggested that Jada totally exaggerated her relationship with Pass, and he claimed that if Path was alive, he wouldn't be messing with Jada.
So, prior to going into Rikers, Tupac already had a girlfriend named Keisha. He proposed to Keisha, her words, in a September 2011 interview. He proposed to Keisha before he even went into prison. They were already engaged.
So, it's really interesting how you never see Kagid Jones, who multiple sources said was the love of Tupac's life, talk about Poke the way Jada does. Kagid never tried to sell her story or share any secrets about Tupac's life, and yet Jada, who wasn't even on speaking terms with Tupac when he was murdered, is now claiming she was Tupac's rock. But it gets worse, believe it or not. Jada also recently told People magazine that Tupac had a lipa, the same condition she allegedly has. I don't think Tupac talked about the alifa he suffered from. Jada said after he was in Northern California with the police officers that beat him up, he started losing his hair, and his alapa patterns were far more EX than mine. I don't think PC ever talked about his alipa, but he also looked really good with a bald head. So Tupac didn't want anyone to know about his condition and felt uncomfortable talking about it in public, and yet Jada thinks it's her place to speak on it almost 30 years later. As for the proposal story, even if Tupac really asked Jada to marry him out of desperation while he was in prison, it's still weird that Jada decided to share this now when she spent the last 20 years claiming they were just friends. Well, you can already imagine what fans are saying about Jada once again using Tupac's name for promotion. 1F said even if Tupac proposed to Jay when he needed her emotional support, the most she turned him down. She chose to ride with the Fresh Prince, who was the haunted upcoming star at the time. Tupac had to ride his storms with Kesha Morris and later with Kagid Jones. Jada was nowhere to be found at this time. Now that Will is on the decline and Peace is on the ascension posthumously, she has popped back up to ride on Pac's popularity. I will never wish Jay on even my worst enemy. Another fan wrote, I know Kat is fed up with Jada and her obsession with Peace. You don't see Kagid out here writing dissertations about Peace every 2 to 3 business days, and that was her man. Jada seek help be. But let's hear your thoughts on this. What's the real reason Jada keeps bringing up Tupac? Do you think she's still hurt he didn't want her? Or is she doing all this just to hurt Will? Comment down below and don't miss out on this next story.